Arsenal fans, you've got a star in the making out on loan right now. Balogun has been ridiculous this season. At the time of recording, he's just scored his 16th league goal for Stade Reims this season, and he's the youngest player to hit that tally since 1961. In comparison, Lionel Messi only has 13 goals so far this campaign, so how has he managed to outscore both of PSG's star strikers in Ligue? Join us today as we take a deep dive into the facts and figures behind Balogun's rise to the top. Stick around until the end to find out the message he's just sent Arsenal fans following his record-breaking feat. Journey to Reims. Even though his name has been on the lips of Arsenal fans for years now, it's easy to forget that Balogun is still only 21. This season is his first campaign playing in a top-flight league. So how did he get here? Balogun was born to Nigerian parents in New York City in 2001, and he emigrated to England 2 years later. When he was 8 years old, the striker was offered a trial by another team in North London. That's right, Tottenham gave Balogun a shot. It wasn't meant to be though, and talks broke down before he could sign for them. Balogun went back to playing for his Sunday League team Aldersbrook, and it was here that he caught the attention of Arsenal scouts. They didn't waste any time, and they signed the highly rated youngsters to their academy. Balogun rose quickly through the ranks, and at the age of 16, he won his first trophy. Playing for the Arsenal under-16s, he managed to beat Bayern Munich, Manchester United, and Juventus to win the 2017 Liam Brady Cup. Just 2 years later, and Balogun managed to impress his coaches enough to be offered a professional contract. But that was just a one-year deal, and that wasn't enough for the young and hungry striker. He wanted game time and refused to extend his contract with Arsenal unless they could promise him a clear pathway to the first team. Balogun was highly rated, and other clubs quickly came sniffing. Southampton, West Ham, and even Bayern Munich were apparently interested in signing him if he was a free agent and his contract ran out. Brentford also made a bid, and they wanted to sign the then 19-year-old for $8 million. That's an insane amount of money for a player who was about to become a free agent. But Arsenal gave him what he wanted. He made his senior debut in October 2020 against Dundalk in the Europa League. Everything calmed down after that, and he signed a long-term contract with the club in April 2021. Just a couple months later, he made his Premier League debut against Brentford in August. But then he disappeared after that. He only played 11 minutes of football in the Premier League after that. That was against Chelsea in the week after, and then he was left out of the squad for all of Arsenal's league games. He played a few cup games, sure, and then went out on loan to Middlesbrough in January. He only scored 3 goals in 18 league games there. It's not amazing numbers, but the then 20-year-old did enough to impress Reims, who signed him on loan before the 2022-23 season. His breakout season. Reims announced the transfer in August 2022, and Balogun scored in his debut against Marseille just a few days later. Even though they lost that game 4-1, it was still a big statement from the striker. He bagged goals in all 3 of his first games, and he didn't show any signs of stopping. By the time January rolled around, Balogun scored a late equaliser in stoppage time against league leaders PSG. It was his 11th goal of the season, and it made him the top scorer under the age of 21 in all of Europe's top 5 leagues. 3 days later, he scored his first professional hat-trick as Reims beat Lorient 4-2. His third and final goal that he bagged in that game was his 14th of the season, making him the top scorer in Ligue at the time. He was starting to attract some serious attention. After all, he was outscoring Lionel Messi and Kylian Mbappe. Balogun is no World Cup winner, and he definitely hasn't won a Ballon d'Or yet, but he's tearing up Ligue this season. The big question is, how is he doing it? We've been watching his games, and we think we found 3 main reasons as to why he's been in such good form. His massive presence. Balogun is still young, and he's only 21, but he's a massive physical presence for Rennes on the field. He's their main target man when he plays up front, and receives 8.53 progressive passes from his teammates per 90 minutes. That's the most that any striker receives on average in Ligue 1, and puts him in the top 5% of target men in the top 5 leagues. When you get the ball that often, it only makes sense that you score a lot of goals. But that's no discredit to Balogun. He still has to do something with the ball, and he effortlessly dribbles past defenders like they aren't even there. The striker completes an average of 3.34 dribbles per 90 minutes, which puts him in the top 9% of centre forwards this season, and he's just as good off the ball too. Balogun makes piercing runs in behind that can be even the best of offside traps. When you can constantly find space to receive the ball like he can, it only makes sense that you become the focal point of your team's attacks. His movement and versatility. Not only does he love running in behind, but he loves dropping deep to pick up the ball too. And despite being a centre forward, he also exploits the inside left channel. By getting the ball in this half space, it allows him to cut inside and use his stronger right foot to shoot at goal. And it clearly seems to work. No matter where the ball is on the pitch, Balogun constantly seems to be there. He never stops running and he's always covering ground, demanding that his teammates pass to him and putting loads of pressure on defenders with his movement. His first touch isn't amazing yet, but as soon as he finds space and gets the ball under control, he's unstoppable. Balogun's dribbling and finishing are both lethal, and he's running 24/7 in order to get himself into positions to do so. But on a psychological level, there's another factor at play too. The media love Reims. Reims have had tons of coverage in the media worldwide this season. Their story is wholesome and heartwarming, and it's always good to see an underdog doing well. And it's clear that the team loves that publicity. We're sure you've heard all about their manager Will Still by now, but if you somehow haven't, he's the youngest manager in Europe's top 5 leagues. He got into coaching through his love for Football Manager, and the 30-year-old has been on a massive winning streak, which every news outlet in the world seems to be talking about. All of that praise from the media must be motivating, and Balogun has definitely had his fair share of it. Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta was asked what he thinks of the youngster, and Balogun certainly has the backing of the gaffer. Arteta said, "He's a boy that has a really clear idea of what he wants to do with his career. He's really ambitious, really committed, and really brave. He's got something special. That's why we decided to give him a long-term contract and have faith in him. I'm so happy for him." With all of that love from your manager and all of the press, it must have definitely helped Balogun keep focused and motivated. You can imagine how easy it would be to become complacent, but the striker has taken all of the praise and used it to elevate himself to the next level. It has given him so much confidence, and he looks brave and self-assured whenever he is on the pitch. Balogun looks untouchable, and clearly his mentality is too. A message sent. With his 16th goal of the season breaking records, it's safe to say that Balogun has sent a message to Mikel Arteta. But his fate next season is still unclear. A multitude of teams are interested in him, from Leeds United to Southampton to West Ham again to Marseille and even AC Milan. In fact, Milan star striker and ex-Arsenal forward Olivier Giroud even reached out to the youngster. In a video message, he said, "I remember when you played for the youth teams in Arsenal. I'm very happy for you and you deserve to be there. Carry on like that. Keep it up, wish you all the best, take care." So who knows where he'll end up next season, but either way, we're sure he'll keep scoring goals for fun. The bigger question now is whether or not he'll be able to make it into the Arsenal lineup. The Gunners are storming the Premier League right now, with Gabriel Jesus, Eddie Nketiah, and even Reece Nelson stepping up. It's tricky to see whether or not Balogun will even be able to get into the lineup. Time will tell, but there will certainly be no shortage of clubs interested in him, both in England and abroad. Do you think Balogun will be ready to play for Arsenal in the Premier League next season, or would he be better off going elsewhere? Let us know in the comments.